The film unfolds with Angela, a woman in her late 40s whose quiet existence is steeped in the lingering sorrow of her past. A widow for several years, she moves through life with a reserved grace, her days filled with a gentle rhythm of routine, but shadowed by memories of her late husband. Her home, a modest apartment adorned with faded photographs and classical music records, feels like a sanctuary of solitude. One chilly evening, as rain taps softly against her window, Angela receives a phone call that pierces the stillness. The line is silent, yet the absence of sound carries an inexplicable weight, as if the caller is holding their breath. Her heart stirs with the flicker of hope, and she whispers her husband's name into the receiver, her voice trembling with the ache of loss. The silence persists, unbroken, and the call ends abruptly, leaving Angela alone with her thoughts, the echo of her own voice ringing in her ears. Unbeknownst to Angela, the caller is not her departed husband, but Diego, a 23-year-old man grappling with his own emotional turmoil. Diego, the son of Angela's psychiatrist, Dr. Elena Marquez, is a quiet and introspective young man with a penchant for observing the world from a distance. His life, marked by a strained relationship with his parents and a sense of disconnection from his peers, feels like a puzzle he cannot solve. Through his mother's work, Diego has inadvertently overheard snippets of Angela's therapy sessions, her voice weaving through his mind like a haunting melody. Her vulnerability, her soft-spoken reflections on grief and loneliness resonate with something deep within him. In a moment of impulsive longing, Diego dials her number anonymously, not to speak, but to listen, finding solace in the sound of her voice. These calls become a ritual, not driven by malice, but by a yearning for connection, however one-sided it may be. Each call leaves Diego more entangled in his emotions. After hanging up one night, he sits in his dimly lit bedroom, the glow of a desk lamp casting shadows across his face. He opens a worn notebook and records the date, scribbling fragmented thoughts about Angela, her voice, her sadness, her strength. The act feels like an attempt to anchor his swirling feelings, to make sense of a compulsion he barely understands. Meanwhile, Angela, unaware of Diego's identity, grows accustomed to the mysterious calls. They stir a mix of curiosity and unease. Yet there's an odd comfort in the silence, as if it's a presence she can lean into. One evening, emboldened by a glass of red wine and a surge of loneliness, Angela makes a daring choice. She speaks into the void of the next silent call, inviting the unknown caller to dinner at her home. Her voice is steady, but laced with vulnerability, a plea for connection disguised as courage. Hours pass, and Angela waits in her softly lit dining room, the table set for two with a simple meal of pasta and a bottle of wine she keeps tucked away in a cupboard. The clock ticks on, and the silence grows heavier. No one arrives. She pours another glass, then another, the alcohol dulling the edges of her disappointment. As the night wears on, her strength fades, her head spinning from the wine and the weight of her solitude. In a moment of desperation, she picks up the phone and dials the mysterious number again, her voice barely a whisper, as she admits she can't even stand anymore. Miles away, Diego, sitting in his car under the glow of a street lamp, listens to her weakened voice. Panic seizes him. Without a second thought, he speeds to her apartment, bypassing the building's dozing security guard. He finds Angela slumped on her couch, her breathing shallow, the empty wine bottle beside her. Heart pounding, he scoops her into his arms and rushes her to the nearest hospital. Angela awakens in a sterile hospital room, the fluorescent lights harsh against her groggy senses. A kind-faced doctor assures her she'll recover and can return home soon. Still dazed, Angela asks who brought her there. A young man named Diego, the doctor replies. The name means nothing to her, and confusion settles in her chest like a stone. Seeking clarity, she schedules an appointment with her psychiatrist, Dr. Elena Marquez, a woman she's trusted for months to guide her through her grief. Her sessions, held in a cozy office lined with books and soft armchairs, have been a lifeline for Angela. But this time, as she leaves the session, she feels unsettled. The the mystery of Diego gnawing at her. Wandering the hallway of the psychiatry practice, she notices a door slightly ajar at the end of the corridor. Curiosity pulls her forward, and she steps into a small, cluttered room, Diego's workspace, where he assists his mother with administrative tasks. On a desk lies a blue folder, unassuming yet strangely compelling. With trembling hands, Angela opens it, and her breath catches. Page after page is filled with her name, alongside dates, fragmented notes, and observations about her life, details only someone listening to her sessions could know. The realization hits her like a wave. Diego is the silent caller. Shocked and disturbed, she stumbles out of the room, the folder's contents burning in her mind. That night, Angela's emotions churn. Anger, betrayal, and a strange pang of empathy for the young man who seems as lost as she is. She considers reporting him to the police, her hands shaking as she dials the precinct's number, but she hesitates. Instead, she writes a letter, her words careful yet firm. She offers Diego forgiveness on one condition: he must come to her home that evening to face her. Diego, returning from a day at university, finds the letter slipped under his apartment door. His heart races as he reads it, torn between fear and a pull to see her. That evening, he arrives at Angela's apartment, his hands shoved deep in his pockets, his eyes avoiding hers. The dinner begins awkwardly, the air thick with unspoken questions. Angela, sensing his discomfort, breaks the tension by sharing her love for music, her voice warming as she describes teaching piano to children and the way a single note can carry a lifetime of feeling. Diego listens, captivated, and the conversation begins to flow, their shared vulnerability creating a fragile bridge between them. But the moment shatters when Angela gently brings up the folder. Diego's face flushes with shame and he moves to leave, his chair scraping against the floor. Angela's hand on his arm stops him, her voice soft but insistent. "Tell me why," she says, not accusing, but seeking to understand. Haltingly, Diego confesses his loneliness, his fascination with her strength, the way her voice felt like a lifeline in his own darkness. The confession lays bare their shared isolation, and something shifts. Over the following weeks, Diego begins spending time at Angela's rented house, a cozy space filled with books and music. Their connection isn't romantic, but something deeper, a mutual need for understanding in a world that feels cold and unforgiving. They share quiet evenings, listening to vinyl records or talking about life's small joys and sorrows, each finding solace in the other's presence. One morning, Diego returns home after a night at Angela's. His father, a stern man with worry etched into his face, questions his absence. He brushes it off, claiming he stayed at a friend's. Later, at his friend Gilliet's apartment, the two play video games, the room filled with the hum of controllers and laughter. In a rare moment of openness, Diego shares his experience with Angela, describing her as a kind older woman who sees him in a way others don't. Gilliet, surprised, teases him about the age gap, but Diego's quiet confidence silences the jest. He speaks of Angela with a reverence that hints at a newfound sense of self, as if her warmth has unlocked something within him. But secrets have a way of surfacing. One afternoon, Diego's mother, Dr. Marquez, discovers the blue folder in his room, its pages a map of his emotional chaos. Alarmed, she confronts him, her voice gentle but firm. She asks if his recent late nights and distant behavior are tied to the folder's contents. Cornered, Diego panics. To protect his connection with Angela, he spins a lie, claiming he's been staying at Gilliet's and hinting at an exploration of same-sex attraction to throw her off. Dr. Marquez freezes, her face a mask of shock and confusion. The revelation, though false, leaves her grappling with how to respond, her maternal instincts warring with her uncertainty. Diego and Angela's bond grows more intricate by the day. Despite his youth, Diego is unapologetic about their connection, introducing Angela to his friends during casual outings to coffee shops or local music events. One evening, after a day spent browsing a record store, Diego returns to Angela's home, hoping for a quiet night together. But his younger sister Sofia calls, anxious about being alone while their parents are out. Diego invites her to Angela's, where the three share a makeshift dinner, Sofia's chatter filling the room with lightness. Later, when Angela's phone rings, it's Dr. Marquez. Sophia, with the unguarded honesty of a child, mentions being at Angela's with Diego. The call ends abruptly, and Dr. Marquez, piecing together Diego's frequent visits, feels a surge of concern. She confronts Angela, her voice sharp with maternal protectiveness, insisting their relationship is inappropriate. Angela, however, defends their bond, seeing it as a genuine connection between two people navigating pain. Furious, Dr. Marquez forbids Diego from seeing Angela and begins watching him closely, her trust in him fraying. This confrontation shatters Angela. Heartbroken, she decides to let Diego go, believing it's best for both of them. The next day when Diego tries to visit, the building's guards stop him at her request. He calls her repeatedly, but the phone rings unanswered, the silence cutting deeper than any word.
Devastated, Diego confronts his mother, accusing her of destroying something precious. She responds calmly, explaining that Diego's emotional fragility and youth make him unprepared for such a complex relationship, especially with someone so much older. Diego listens, his jaw tight, but her words don't sway him. Then, one night, Angela's resolve falters. She calls Diego, her voice soft and urgent, asking him to come over. Without hesitation, he drives to her apartment and they spend the night together, rekindling their fragile, complicated bond. They talk until dawn, sharing stories of their fears and dreams, the world outside fading away. But their reunion doesn't go unnoticed. Diego's parents, discovering he's been with Angela again, call a family meeting. They're upset that Diego's younger brother, overhearing their arguments, has been exposed to mature issues. Diego, however, remains defiant, his heart set on Angela despite their disapproval. As Diego's rebellion grows, his parents struggle to control him. One day, during a university lecture, he makes an impulsive decision. He leaves class, finds Angela, and convinces her to run away with him. They drive off in her old car, the city lights fading behind them as they chase a fleeting sense of freedom. For a moment, they're happy, their laughter mingling with the hum of the engine, the weight of the world lifted. The film ends on this open note, leaving their future uncertain and inviting viewers to reflect on the path ahead. What do you think of Diego and Angela's intricate relationship? Was it a true, albeit unconventional love, or a transformative journey that reshaped them both? Please share your thoughts in the comments below, and don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to our channel.